All right, let's dive right in. Every single organization out there, from the tiniest startup in a garage to a huge government agency, runs into this one critical question. When you need a new piece of technology, what do you do? Do you build it yourself, completely from scratch, or do you just buy something that's already out there? And believe me, this one choice can make or break a whole project.
Yeah, this is the classic build versus buy dilemma, right? Now, building something custom sounds great. You get exactly what you want, total control. But wow, it is so expensive and it takes forever. Buying, well, that's a much more direct path. And that's where we're headed today, because there's a really powerful idea on that buy side of the equation.
And that powerful answer has a name you've probably heard tossed around: Cots. It stands for Commercial Off the Shelf. And honestly, it's a strategy that has totally changed the game for how we get and use technology.
You know, what's so wild is just how simple the idea is. At its core, COTS is all about one thing: using what's already out there. We're talking about any product, could be software, could be hardware, that you can just go and buy from the commercial market. That's it. No custom coding, no building from the ground up.
So for something to be a real COTS product, it has to check off 4 boxes. Okay, first, it's got to be commercially available to anybody. Second, it has to be readily available, like it exists right now. Third, and this is a big one, it's meant to be used pretty much as is, without a ton of changes. And finally, it's mass-produced for lots of people, not just custom-made for one person.
Okay, wait a second. We have to clear something up right now because this happens all the time. I know when some of you hear COTS, your brain immediately goes to a camp bed, right? Something you'd take camping. It's an easy mistake to make, but let me be clear, they are definitely not the same thing.
So let's break it down, plain and simple. On one side, we've got COTS, the acronym. That's our technology procurement strategy. On the other side, a COT, the noun, the portable camp bed. So hey, unless you're planning on plugging a camp bed into your server rack, just try to remember, one's a strategy, the other's for sleeping. So buying something ready-made, it sounds like a no-brainer, doesn't it? It's cheaper, it's faster, it's easier. What's the catch? Well, like any big decision in life, it's just not that simple. This is where we get into the world of trade-offs.
And this really lays out the core dilemma. The pros are huge, right? It's way more cost-effective, you can get things up and running so much faster, and you get vendor support and updates, which is great. But there's always a but. Look at the other side of the scale. You're giving up customization. Maybe it only does 80% of what you really need. You could get stuck with vendor lock-in, where it's just too painful or expensive to switch. And you might get a bunch of unnecessary features, bloatware, that you're paying for, but will never, ever use.
Okay, so this isn't just some dry, abstract theory from a business textbook. COTS is literally all around us. It's shaping our world in ways you probably don't even think about. I'm talking from the very device you're watching this on right now, all the way to outer space.
Just think about the software we all use every single day. Microsoft Office, Google Chrome, that antivirus program running in the background. Yep, those are all perfect examples of COTS products. You and I didn't call up Microsoft and ask them to build a special version of Word just for us. Nope. We bought a solution that was already built, sitting on a virtual shelf, ready to go.
And it's the exact same story with hardware. That Intel processor inside your computer, the router that's giving you Wi-Fi, even the little sticks of RAM and the hard drive, all of them are COTS components. Companies build the most incredible pieces of technology just by grabbing these existing parts off the shelf and putting them together.
All right. So office software, computer parts, that all makes sense. But let's push this idea to its absolute limit. What about the most complex, highest-stakes projects you can possibly imagine? Can this off-the-shelf way of thinking really work for something as insane as, resupplying the International Space Station?
Well, you know what? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. And the most amazing example is NASA's very own COTS program. See that name? COTS? That is not a coincidence. This program was a massive shift in thinking for NASA. Instead of building their own rockets from the ground up, the old, incredibly expensive way they'd always done it, they turned to the private sector. They decided to partner with companies like SpaceX and leverage what they were already building. And this quote from NASA, it just cuts right to the heart of it. They basically said, hey, let's utilize commercial market capabilities to get this done more cost-effectively. They realized they could tap into all the amazing innovation that was already happening out there. It was a genius move, applying that buy don't build idea on a cosmic scale. And in doing so, they created a whole new competitive market, where there used to be just a government monopoly. Okay, but here's a really important clarification we need to make. The NASA COTS program, it's not a COTS product. You can't go out and buy it. It's a COTS strategy. See the difference? It's the application of the COTS philosophy, using the commercial market to solve a really big problem. That's a super important distinction to remember.
So if a company or an organization decides to go down this path, how do they actually do it? I mean, it's not quite as simple as just going online and clicking Add to Cart. There's a real structured process, a kind of playbook, to make sure they end up with the right tool for the job.
And it all follows a pretty logical flow. You start by looking inward, asking what is the actual problem we're trying to solve here. Then you go out and do your market research, you evaluate all the options, you pick one. But the job isn't done when you buy it. Oh no. The really hard part is often the integration, getting that new piece of software to play nice with all your old systems. And of course, you have to think about ongoing maintenance with the vendor.
Okay, let's pull all of this together. Why does any of this matter? Well, understanding COTS isn't just about memorizing another three-letter acronym. It's about grasping a really fundamental shift in how we build and roll out technology today. It is an absolutely core strategic idea for any organization that wants to stay competitive.
So if there are just a few things you remember from our chat today, let it be these. First, COTS is simply the buy, don't build strategy in action. Second, it's all about moving faster and saving money up front. Third, it lets you ride the wave of innovation that's happening in the commercial world. And finally, and this is maybe the most important part, it is always a strategic trade-off. You're balancing the benefits, like speed, against giving up some customization and control.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. In a world where innovation is happening at a breakneck speed, where these incredible ready-made solutions keep popping up, does it really make sense anymore to always build from scratch, to constantly reinvent the wheel? Or is the smarter play to just stand on the shoulders of giants?